Hello, Craig Birch here from Tungsten Tales with your weekly Around the Board show where we're going to talk about all the darts that's coming up this week in both the PDC and the BDO and everything that's been going on since we last checked in 7 days ago. So I'll just fly straight into the action if I may. The PDC Premier League is in Exeter on Thursday night with plenty of good games to look forward to there and a big weekend going from there as well. All of the Premier League performers will then head to Minehead to compete in the FA Cup of Darts, the UK Open, which runs for 3 days from Butlins in Minehead from Friday afternoon. Oh goodness me, there's going to be a hell of a lot of games to get through there. Obviously, as you know with the UK Open, the top 96 from a different order of merit, so UK Open order of merit, will compete against 32 Riley's qualifiers generated from open darts comps around the country that make the 128 player field, and there's going to be some real interesting affairs. They call it the FA Cup of Darts because giant killings can and do occur, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. But let's go over the Premier League first, because obviously that's the first run of games that we can look forward to this week. Just go over last week a little bit. A real big night for the PDC when they took the Premier League to Berlin. 12,000 fans in Germany turned out. The Germans certainly liked the darts and they really enjoyed the Premier League to the tune of 12,000 people last Thursday. Some results there as well. The battle of the 100% records was on the line. Michael Smith against Simon Whitlock, the battle of the 100% Premier League ground. Michael Smith 100% record continues with a 7-3 win. Mendes Sulovic as well, real vital win for him, 7-3 against Gerwin Price as well. Rob Cross 7, Raymond van Barneveld 3. Rob really coming into form again, and that's 2 wins for him in the Premier League now after a real shaky start after winning the World Championship. And Rob's playing well at the moment. He's feeling good again, so good for Rob. And the game of the nights was they said the best till last. Peter Wright, Gary Anderson, that was 6 each as well. But again, plenty of great games again to come this week in Exeter. Gary Anderson now will play Rob Cross. Rob has had 2 Premier League wins on the bounce as well. Gary, as we mentioned before on some of the shows, Gary's having problems with his back, but he's still playing some fantastic darts, and he's going to be, and him and Rob Cross is going to be a very tasty game on Thursday as well. Daryl Gurney versus Peter Wright. At the moment, Daryl Gurney and Gerwin Price are the bottom 2 in the Premier League. So Daryl's got it up. He'll be up against it as well against Peter Wright. Wright's a tough opponent for Daryl, but he needs to start pulling something out of the bag soon. He needs to save himself in the Premier League as well. Mendes Sulovic versus Michael van Gerwen. Sulovic got that win he so desperately needed last week, but he's going to be right up against it as well against Michael van Gerwen this week in Exeter as well. So that could be, so MVG plays some fantastic darts as he always does, and Mendes could find it very difficult against Michael van Gerwen as well. Simon Whitlock will be looking to bounce back from his defeat to Michael Smith in Berlin last week, and he'll face Gerwin Price, who's fighting for his Premier League life at the moment. So obviously plenty to look forward to, some real good games in Exeter as well. And then Friday afternoon, darts switches to ITV4, where the UK Open will be broadcast over the 3 days. Several boards around Butlins in Minehead will get whittled down again. There's a hell of a lot of games to get through and so on. But the television viewers will be all thinking about the main stage, because that's the main stage is obviously where the games are televised. The cameras will go around and catch bits and bobs of the other games as well. But we do have the schedule of play for the main stage as well. And it's an interesting backdrop to this as well. It's the 2-year anniversary since Rob Cross famously played as a Riley's qualifier at the UK Open, losing to Michael van Gerwen, who needed a 9-dot finish and a 170 to see Rob off as well. Just to say, this is the first UK Open since the World Championship. So obviously this is the first UK Open where a former Riley's qualifier is the reigning world champion, which will give heart to every sort of minnow, as they say in football, that is going to come into the UK Open this year. They'll all think they can do a Rob Cross. And who knows, we said it wasn't possible with Rob Cross, and it is, so we would just have to wait and see how they get on. But on the main stage, in the first round, you'll see Paul Nicholson versus Terry Jenkins. That was a game I earmarked. It could be a real good game in the first round as well. That's going to be on the main stage as well. You recall, would it be about 8 days ago now, John Morris won the last Wolverhampton Riley's qualifier. So he was put into the pots, and he will be on the main stage as well. I know John very well. He's a West Midlands county player of the past, and hello to John if you're watching, and he certainly had the just rewards from making the cut as one of the 4 qualifiers from Riley's Wolverhampton. He's going to play former world champion John Part on the main stage in the last game on the main stage of the first round. So that's going to be a very, very interesting tie as well. Best of luck to John, and best of luck to John Part as well. I spend a lot of time enjoying the PDC Grand Slam. Fantastic fellow, really good pundit, and he can still throw a dart or two. So that could be a really, really good game. We talked about the second round as well. The second round will... they'll have fixtures on the main stage as well before we get to the third round, which is of course in the evening. The game in the second round undoubtedly it's got to be James Wilson and Gerwyn Price. Gerwyn's not going to find it, it's not getting easier for Gerwyn. He's got a real tough draw early on in the UK Open. He's going to have James Wilson, who's capable of some fantastic darts as well, so that's a second round tie most certainly to look out for. We move on to the third round in the evening. The first games, the third round in the evening, which is going to be a best of 19 affair as well. Obviously the first and second round is best of 11, so the third round will be drawn on stage at Butlins in Minehead. Coming in the third round are all the big guns and some players you probably haven't seen at the UK Open before, Jamie Hughes being one of them, the former BDO semi-finalists. So it's going to get real interesting by the end of the first day, and it's a hectic day, it has to be said, the first day of the UK Open. There's a lot to get your head around watching the tournament progress, and it's a lot of fun, and then we're going to get back to the nitty gritty before the tournament concludes on Sunday as well. Mention to the BDO as well, they had the inaugural BDO Slovak Open at the weekend, which was won by former world champion Scott Waits. He beat Martin Phillips 6-3 in the final. That was the inaugural Slovak Open as they go into Slovakia this year. Fallon Sherrock won the ladies' title, and those darters will be playing for the county this weekend. It's county weekend for the BDO as well, but obviously the Slovak Open, a big success. Ross Bray was spotted there as well, doing a little bit of calling as well. I saw the YouTube video. I'm wondering if it wasn't sort of put together. I had to certainly take a double take in that, but I wonder what Ross was doing there. That's a very interesting one, and one we'll certainly have to ask him on Twitter and on social media as well. I'm Craig Birch. We look forward to seeing you after the UK Open. Looking forward again to Around the Board. See you this time next week.